want to begin by thanking God for this moment. These are moments in life when you know that what is happening is not simply the result of your own efforts, but the unfolding of God's purpose. Today is one of those moments for me. I'd like to thank every one of you who took time to come and witness the birth of this book, Who Are You, Woman? And the courage to be uniquely you. Your presence here means more to me than you can imagine. These books did not begin as a writing project, but also again come to Who Are You, Woman? Began as a question. A question I kept encountering again and again in my work as a therapist, in my conversations with women, and even within my own personal journey. The question was this: who are you, woman? Over the years, I've had the privilege of sitting across from many women in my therapy room. Women who are strong, intelligent, capable, and deeply committed to their families. Yet many of them walked in carrying something heavy: confusion about who they are, pain from past experiences, exhaustion from trying to be everything for everyone, and sometimes a deep sense of losing themselves. I listened to stories of women who had forgotten their voice, women who had learned to survive but had not yet learned how to heal, women who were functioning, but inside they were asking quietly, where did I go? As I listened to these stories, something became very clear to me. Many women are not lacking strength. They are lacking space to heal, permission to rediscover themselves, and guidance to reconnect with their identity. And the truth is, when a woman is disconnected from who she is, the impact does not stop with her. It affects her relationships. It affects her marriage. It affects her children. And ultimately, it affects our society. Because women are often the emotional and relational anchors of the family. So the question became even bigger for me. What would happen if women rediscovered who they truly are? What would happen if women healed from their wounds and injuries? What would happen if women reconnected with the identity that God gave them? I believe families would become healthier. I believe relationships would become more authentic. And I believe society would become stronger. But this question was not only professional for me, it was also personal. Like many women, I've had moments in my life where I had to pause and ask myself difficult questions about identity, purpose, and calling. Moments where I had to confront pain, navigate expectations, and rediscover my own voice. And through that journey, I began to see something powerful. Before society tells a woman who she is, before culture defines her, before circumstances shape her, God already spoke about who she is. In Genesis, the Bible tells us that both man and woman were created in the image of God. That means a woman's identity does not begin with her roles, not as a wife, not as a mother, not as a professional. Her identity begins with being created intentionally by God. Yet life has a way of covering that truth. Pain can cover it. Rejection can cover it. Trauma can cover it. Cultural expectations can cover it. This book is an invitation for women to begin uncovering that identity again. It's not a book that blames a woman. It's not a book that attacks families. It's not even a book that simply tells women to be strong. Instead, it is a book that gently asks a woman to pause and ask herself, who am I beyond my pain? Who am I beyond my roles? Who did God create me to be? And more importantly, what parts of myself have I abandoned along the way? As a therapist, I believe deeply in healing. I have seen what happens when people begin to understand their emotions, their history, and the patterns that shape their lives. But as a woman of faith, I also believe that true healing is both psychological and spiritual. Healing is not only about understanding the past, it is also about reconnecting with the purpose God placed in us. This book was written from that intersection where therapy meets faith and where healing meets destiny. My hope is that when a woman reads this book, she does not feel judged. Instead, I hope that she feels seen. I hope she finds language for things that she has felt but could not explain. I hope she begins asking herself deeper questions. And most importantly, I hope that she begins the journey of coming back to herself. And I'll repeat it again. I hope that she's going to begin a journey of coming back to herself, reconnecting with herself. Because when a woman knows who she is, something powerful happens. She stops living from fear. She stops living from survival. She begins living from purpose. And when women live from purpose, families change, communities change, generations change. As I finish, I want to say this to every woman: your story matters, your healing matters, and your identity matters. And the question, who are you, woman, is not meant to condemn you. It is meant to awaken you, to remind you that there is more inside of you than the pain you've carried, more inside you than the roles you perform, and more inside you than the expectations the world has placed on you. God, who created you in his image, has already spoken about who you are. The journey many of us are on is simply rediscovering what he already placed within us. And this is why today is not just about launching a book. It's about starting a conversation about healing, identity, purpose, and the role women play in shaping families and society. So as we move to the next bit, we need to understand that if a woman truly discovers who God created her to be, then how might that transform her life, her family, and the world around her? There is so much that a woman can do. So with that, I'd love to say thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. And thank you so much for being part of this journey.